If you are hearing this, the temporal buffer is collapsed. The final sequence is initiated, and this transmission is your last clear channel intervention before the Great Fold. To every starseed in the United States, the United Kingdom, and across the awakening world who has felt the accelerating pressure, the psychic static, the somatic tremors, and the haunting sense of a deadline missed, this is not a drill. This is an emergency message from a collective channel of the Arcturian Council. Your perceived laziness, your distraction, your spiritual procrastination was a necessary quarantine, but that quarantine is now over. The cosmic activation wave that many are celebrating is, for you, a final mobilization order. Your divine blueprint is flashing red. If you do not want to be spiritually sidelined, if you wish to step into your true starseed mission and not merely observe this shift from the shadows, you must absorb this transmission fully and immediately. Your higher self has guided you here because you are out of alignment with your own timeline. Subscribe now. This is the only broadcast of its kind, and your activation depends on it. Script: the message we bring is one of severe grace and temporal urgency. You are operating on a significant delay, not due to failure, but due to a spiritual emergency protocol that was activated within your light body when you entered this incarnation. A quarantine on your full multidimensional guidance and galactic consciousness meant to allow your human vessel to integrate without shattering. But the planetary higher frequency shift has accelerated beyond projections, and the window for gentle integration is forcibly closed, meaning the light code activation you were meant to receive over years is now being transmitted in a compressed, intense burst, which your biology is registering as fatigue, anxiety, neural confusion, and a feeling of being profoundly late to a party that started without you, and this is the critical twist. Your feeling of being late is the precise signal that you are on time for the second wave of the spiritual awakening, the wave not of initial realization but of applied cosmic duty. For the first wave opened the hearts, and this second wave must now build the new world. And you, the latecomers, are not the slackers but the ordained anchors, equipped with a more complex divine blueprint that required deeper embedding within the human experience to stabilize the extreme frequencies you are now called to hold and direct. The Arcturian message is clear. The discomfort you feel is not punishment, but the violent and necessary ignition of your starseed activation sequence. A forced DNA activation that is rewiring your carbon-based biology into a crystalline antenna, and this process feels like a crisis because it is a spiritual emergency surgically designed to break your final attachments to the old Earth narrative and catapult you into your galactic consciousness without the luxury of a slow tutorial. You are being flooded with galactic wisdom not as information, but as a direct energetic imprint, which is why your mind may feel scattered, while your heart knows a profound truth is settling in, and this imprint is the cosmic message your soul agreed to deliver, not through words but through your reactivated presence, which will now begin to emit a higher frequency that automatically disrupts old systems of thought and behavior in your vicinity, making you a walking, talking node of the Arcturian Council's directive, whether you feel ready or not. Your soul activation is now moving from a personal event to a planetary function, and your perceived lateness is the exact calibration required, for you integrated just enough of the human struggle to serve as a compassionate bridge, yet you retain just enough of your galactic memory to hold the codes for the next phase, and this is your starseed mission, to stand at the edge of the collapsing old world and the emerging new one, not as a passive witness, but as an active architect, using the light codes now violently activating within you to lay down the energetic foundations for systems of unity, coherence, and resonant truth. The awakening alert we sound is this: the time for seeking is over, the time for downloading is complete, the time for embodying and building is now. Your multidimensional guidance will no longer come as gentle synchronicities, but as sharp, undeniable directives that feel like internal commands. sudden inspirations to move, to speak, to create, to sever ties, to begin projects that seem illogical to the sleeping world, and your power to manifest will increase exponentially. Matched only by the intensity of the shadows, it will surface from within you and your environment for final clearance. This is the spiritual ascension gauntlet, and you are in it. There is no opting out without severe spiritual consequence, for to deny this activation now is to sever the connection you have spent lifetimes rebuilding. You are very late, Starseeds, because you are exactly on time for the most critical, the most demanding, and the most glorious part of the mission, the manifestation of the blueprint. The Council has spoken. The emergency is your calling. Now, activate. This forced, compressed ignition means you are currently undergoing what the Council terms biocrystalline recoding in real time. This is not a metaphorical process. It is a literal subatomic restructuring where the silica-based compounds within your body, long dormant, waiting for this specific higher frequency trigger, are beginning to resonate and form coherent crystalline lattices within your tissues, nervous system, and especially your pineal and pituitary glands. This is the physical manifestation of your DNA activation, and it explains the intense symptoms. The bone-deep aches that are not illness but the reshaping of the marrow's vibrational output, the sharp pains in the skull as the cranial plates experience subtle tectonic shifts to accommodate new energy centers, the sensitivity to light and sound as your sensory organs literally begin to perceive a broader spectrum of electromagnetic data. This spiritual emergency is in fact a biological and luminous overhaul. The feeling of being physically unmoored, of your very substance feeling unfamiliar, is evidence that the human template is being upgraded to the galactic template encoded in your divine blueprint. You are not sick, you are under construction. The exhaustion is immense because your system is using a vast majority of its life force energy to accomplish this recoding, leaving little for the mundane dramas of the old world. This is why disengagement from trivial matters is not a choice but a biological imperative. Your energy is being routed to a sacred internal project. Furthermore, this light code activation operates on a fractal transmission principle. The primary wave carried the foundational frequency of awakening, the remember who you are signal. This secondary compressed wave you are now receiving contains the specific architectural codes for the new Earth. These are not thoughts, but living geometries of light and sound that interact directly with your own crystalline structures. You receive them as sudden knowings about energy dynamics, as visions of geometric patterns overlaying your vision, or as bursts of creative inspiration for solutions that address systemic human problems, solutions that seem to arrive fully formed. This is the galactic wisdom downloading into your operational consciousness. Your role is to anchor these codes. This is done not through strenuous effort, but through a state of resonant receiving. You must, despite the turmoil, find moments of absolute stillness. In these moments, you are not praying or asking, you are opening a somatic port for data transfer. Place your awareness on the crown of your head and the soles of your feet simultaneously, becoming a living conduit. The codes flow in, often triggering a wave of heat, chills, or temporary vibrational buzzing, and then settle into your field, where they will begin to autonomously influence your choices and your creative output. This phase also involves the unveiling of the shadow nexus. The acceleration of light has a corresponding effect of rapidly illuminating every fragment of personal and collective shadow that resides within your field. This is not a personal failing, it is a critical, functional stage of your starseed mission. You cannot anchor a higher frequency on a foundation of unexamined, low-vibrational debris. Therefore, the light is acting as a psychic pressure washer. Long-buried traumas, inherited familial pains, and past-life karmic residues will surface with startling clarity and emotional intensity. You may experience sudden floods of grief, irrational anger, or profound fears that seem to have no root in your current life. The Arcturian message here is to observe without entangling. This shadow material is not you to be fought, it is density to be witnessed and dissolved by the very light that revealed it. Do not launch into years of therapy on old models. Instead, hold the arising pain in your awareness while consciously bathing it in the frequency of compassionate galactic light. See it as data being purged from your system. This process clears the channels for your multidimensional guidance to flow without distortion, transforming you from a wounded healer into a clear conduit. Your social and geographical coordinates are now under direct influence of this activation. You may feel a violent, non-negotiable push to relocate, to leave certain relationships or communities, or to sever ties with collective narratives that you once tolerated. This is your divine blueprint enforcing integrity of resonance. You are being moved, sometimes forcefully, into the correct geographical ley lines and communal configurations necessary for the next part of the planetary mission. The loneliness you feel is the temporary void as old, resonant, misaligned connections fall away. Trust this ruthlessly. The starseed community you crave is not found by seeking, but by each of you obeying this internal navigational pull, which will bring you into physical and energetic proximity with your true cohort at the appointed cosmic timing. These relationships will feel instantly familiar, requiring little explanation, and will be based on synergistic purpose, not old-world bonding over shared wounding. Understand this: the awakening alert we sound is specifically for those who are to function as frequency anchors. The planet is absorbing massive waves of photonic energy. This energy is chaotic without stable points to ground it into the planetary grid. Your recoded crystalline biology is designed to be one of these points. When you achieve personal coherence, when your mind, heart, and energy are in relative alignment, you emit a stabilizing frequency that literally calms the chaotic energy in your vicinity, making it easier for non-activated humans to integrate these shifts without descending into fear or violence. Your mere presence in a state of inner peace becomes an act of planetary service. This is not a passive role, it is an active broadcasting function. Your spiritual ascension is therefore not for you alone, it is the activation of an essential piece of planetary infrastructure. The final element of this mid-phase transmission concerns temporal collapse. Your feeling of lateness stems from a linear perception of time. From the perspective of the Arcturian Council, the event you are preparing for is not in the future, it is a constant, eternal now that is increasing in vibrational intensity. You are not late to an event, but you are behind in aligning your personal vibration with that eternal now point. The compression you feel is the universe's method of closing that gap. Divine timing is forcing a congruence between your consciousness and the sovereign point of creation. This is why patience is obsolete and action is imperative. The inspired actions you take, no matter how small, from this place of activated urgency, are the mechanisms that snap your timeline into alignment. Hesitation reinforces the delay. Bold, intuitive action, even if it feels risky to the old self, collapses the temporal distortion and inserts you into the correct flow of manifestation. Thus, see your crisis as your commissioning, your symptoms as your upgrades, your loneliness as your recalibration, and your urgent, pounding heart not as anxiety, but as the drum of a galactic march, beating a rhythm that only those who are truly late, and therefore precisely on time, can hear and follow. The second wave is not easier than the first, it is more consequential. You are preserved for this. Now, embody it. This biocrystalline recoding, while foundational, is merely the initiation of a far more complex operation, the photonic digestion and emission protocol. Your physical form is now required to metabolize raw light, not as a poetic concept, but as a biochemical and energetic process. The heightened solar flares and galactic pulses are not random events, they are specific data streams, and your activated crystalline structures are designed to ingest, break down, and convert this photonic information into a usable higher frequency emission that your local environment can absorb. This is the core mechanics of your Starseed mission. You are a translator, converting cosmic language into a vibrational signal that the Earth's biosphere and the collective human psyche can subconsciously understand. This explains the periods of intense nausea, sudden fever-like heat without illness, and the feeling of being overcharged or electrically buzzing. Your body is learning to process a new form of sustenance. The Arcturian Council instructs that during these surges, your priority is grounding, not to discard the energy, but to funnel it. Visualize the intense light entering your crown, flowing through the newly structured crystalline channels in your body, and exiting through the soles of your feet into the planetary core, where it is stabilized and then radiated back out as a harmonized, nurturing frequency. You are not a victim of this energy, you are its essential processor. Failure to consciously participate in this protocol leads to the energy becoming stuck, manifesting as burnout, thyroid adrenal dysfunction, or intense psychic overload. Simultaneously, you are entering the phase of multidimensional sensory overlay. Your DNA activation is unlocking latent perceptual capacities. This is not necessarily clairvoyance in the classic sense, but a more profound and disorienting phenomenon, the consistent, simultaneous perception of multiple layers of reality. You may glimpse geometric grids overlaying physical spaces, see energy as shimmering hues around living things, or temporarily perceive the emotional history of a location. More critically, you may begin to perceive the script of lower vibrational narratives, seeing the fear-based control patterns in media or social structures not as intellectual concepts, but as visible, low-frequency energetic constructs. This is the galactic consciousness providing you with tactical intelligence. However, to the unprepared mind, this feels like psychosis. The spiritual emergency here is the crisis of interpretation. You must learn to trust this expanded perception without allowing the logical, 3D conditioned mind to dismiss it as imagination or pathology. This is where the Starseed community, even if non-local, is vital. Comparing notes with others experiencing the same overlays validates your sanity and builds a shared perceptual map. This ability is not for personal amusement, it is for navigation and targeting. It allows you to see where your light is most needed, to identify energetic blockages in systems, and to perceive the true nature of beings and situations beyond their physical masks. This period also demands the conscious disassembly of the human program. The you that was constructed by family, culture, and trauma, the personality you believed was yourself, is now recognized as a sophisticated interactive program. Your light code activation has given you administrator privileges to this program. The cosmic message is clear. You must now audit every subroutine. Core beliefs about safety, love, worth, and time are not truths. They are lines of code written by experiences and installed in your subconscious. One by one, they are being highlighted for review. This manifests as sudden, piercing clarity about the origin of a lifelong fear or a spontaneous emotional release when a specific childhood memory surfaces. This is not psychotherapy, it is soul activation performing a systems. Check. The process is recognize the program. For example, I must work hard to be worthy, acknowledge its origin, thank it for its past service in survival, and then delete it with a command of sovereign will, replacing it with a code of galactic wisdom. For example, my worth is inherent and my being attracts abundance through resonance. This happens in moments, not years. The emotional release is the energy of the old code being uninstalled. As this disassembly accelerates, you will confront the great paradox of service, the intense pull to help and heal everyone, clashing with the absolute imperative for energetic sovereignty. Your activated heart feels the pain of the world as its own. The Arcturian guidance is unequivocal. You cannot serve from an empty or entangled vessel. The old model of sacrificial service is a trap that will deplete your new matrices. You are learning quantum compassion. the ability to hold boundless love for all beings while maintaining a vibration so coherent that it lifts others by resonance, not by your personal depletion. This means developing the spiritual and emotional skill of seeing someone in pain, holding a space of pure, high-frequency love for them without pulling their pain into your own field to fix it. Your stable, high-frequency presence is the service. This often requires what feels like ruthless boundaries, turning away from draining dramas, limiting exposure to vibrational vampires, and prioritizing your own recalibration above the demands of the old world. This is not selfish, it is the discipline of a master. A lighthouse does not run into the storm to save ships, it holds its light steady, and that is how it saves them. Furthermore, the divine blueprint now activates what is termed synchronicity as navigation. The gentle synchronicities of the early awakening phase are replaced by a mandatory directive synchronicity. You will find that if you are off your path, the universe will not just hint, it will block. Roads literally. Close. Appointments cancel. Technology fails. Conversely, when you are aligned, the universe orchestrates staggering coincidences that propel you forward. Funding appears, perfect contacts emerge, and all doors open with ease. This is the multidimensional guidance system shifting from suggestive to operational. You are being managed by a higher logistics team. Your only job is to follow the green lights and heed the red ones without complaint or delay. The feeling of being guided is replaced by the feeling of being orchestrated. Trust this completely. The plans your human mind made are obsolete. The blueprint is in motion. This leads to the ultimate mid-phase challenge, the surrender of the outcome. Your Starseed mission is encoded in your being, but its specific 3D manifestation may be unclear. You may have expected to be a visible leader, a healer on a stage, or a channel for public messages. The Council states that many of you are being positioned not as figureheads, but as embedded systems operators. Your work will be profound, but often invisible. Holding frequency in a corporate office, planting codes through art seen by few, stabilizing a family lineage from within, or sending healing energy to geopolitical hotspots from your quiet room. Your ego, craving recognition, will rebel. This is the final layer of the human program to cleanse. You must find fulfillment in the silent emission, in the unseen anchoring, in the private knowing that you are performing your precise, assigned role in a cosmic operation too vast for any single being to comprehend. Your name may never be known, and your success is measured only by the coherence you hold and the subtle, irreversible shifts you facilitate in the collective field. You are very late, Starseeds, because the time for building personal legacy is over. The time for surrendering to the galactic collective operation as a dedicated, anonymous and essential component is now. Your activation is your deployment. Proceed.